Did you know the Philippines, often overlooked on the world map, has quietly shaped world history for centuries? From ancient trade routes that connected continents, to being the battleground that shifted the course of global wars, to sending millions of workers across the world today, this nation has always been a hidden force in the making of our modern world. And if you stay until the end of this video, you'll see exactly why the Philippines' role is far bigger than its size, and why its influence is still growing in ways the world cannot ignore. So hit like, share this with someone who underestimates the Philippines, and subscribe for more untold stories. Let's begin. 1. The gateway of ancient trade. Centuries before colonizers arrived, the islands of the Philippines were already buzzing with trade. Chinese merchants sailed in with porcelain and silk, Indian traders brought beads, cotton, and spices, Arab seafarers exchanged gold and introduced Islam to the southern islands. This wasn't a backwater, it was a crossroads of civilizations. Archaeologists have found jars from Vietnam, beads from India, and coins from Arabia buried deep in Philippine soil. Think about it. Long before global shipping lanes, the Philippines stood as a meeting ground, a connector between East and West. Without it, the map of Asian trade would look very different. In 1565, Spain set up the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. For more than 200 years, giant ships carried goods across the Pacific, from Manila to Mexico, and then across to Spain and the rest of Europe. Chinese silk and porcelain, Filipino gold, Indian cotton, and Mexican silver all passed through Manila. This wasn't just trade, it was the world's first global supply chain. Manila became the Pearl of the Orient because everything, from European nobility's gowns to coins in the Americas, passed through its ports. Historians even argue this was the birth of globalization, and right at the center of it all, the Philippines. Fast forward to the 20th century. The Second World War turned the Philippines into one of the most critical battlefields in the Pacific. The Japanese invasion in 1941 was brutal, but Filipino and American forces fought back with unshakable courage. The battles of Bataan and Corregidor became legendary, not just in Philippine history, but in global memory. By 1944, General Douglas MacArthur's famous return to Leyte wasn't just about reclaiming territory, it was a turning point. The Battle of Leyte Gulf became the largest naval battle in history, crippling Japan's navy and changing the course of the war. Without the Philippines, victory in the Pacific would have been delayed, or worse, uncertain. The islands were not just pawns, they were the battlefield that tipped the balance. 4. The silent shaper of migration. Today, over 10 million Filipinos live and work abroad. That's nearly 1 in 10 Filipinos scattered across the globe. They're nurses in New York and London, engineers in the Middle East, teachers in Japan, seafarers in the Mediterranean, and caregivers in Canada. But this isn't just about jobs, it's about influence. The remittances they send back, billions of dollars each year, keep the Philippine economy alive. And more than that, their presence has shaped how other countries view the Philippines. Filipinos have become known as hardworking, resilient, and skilled, quietly strengthening industries across continents. This is soft power in action, built not by politicians, but by everyday people. Culture is power too, and the Philippines has left its mark everywhere. Karaoke, a global pastime, became wildly popular in part because of Filipino love for music. Filipino food like adobo, lumpia, and halo are now enjoyed far outside the islands. And when it comes to entertainment, icons like Lea Salonga on Broadway, Manny Pacquiao in sports, and Bruno Mars in music prove that Filipino talent conquers global stages. Even small traditions spread far. Festivals, Catholic celebrations, and the warmth of Filipino hospitality are known worldwide. Wherever Filipinos go, their joy, faith, and resilience follow, making culture one of the country's most powerful exports. Look at a map and you'll see why the Philippines is so important today. It sits at the heart of Southeast Asia, right along the South China Sea, one of the busiest waterways on Earth. A third of the world's trade passes through those waters. Whoever influences this region holds enormous power. That's why global powers, the United States, China, Japan, all pay close attention to the Philippines. It's not just a small country, it's a strategic key. Bases in the Philippines, ports in the Philippines, alliances with the Philippines, these shape the balance of power in Asia. For a nation once underestimated, this is its new strength, geography turned into global leverage. Here's something many don't realize. Filipino thinkers, inventors, and scientists have made contributions that ripple far beyond the islands. In the Spanish era, Filipino printers and intellectuals spread revolutionary ideas through books and newspapers. In modern times, Filipino innovations like the bamboo incubator and the salt lamp have inspired the world with low-cost, life-saving solutions. Even in space exploration, the Philippines has launched its own satellites, Diwata and Maya, proving that it can compete in the high-tech arena. Knowledge, science, and creativity have always been part of the Filipino contribution to the world's progress. The Philippines is no stranger to hardship. For over 400 years, the islands were under colonizers, Spain, the United States, and occupied by Japan during World War II. Each wave of foreign power tried to suppress the Filipino spirit. But every time, Filipinos rose up. Think of the Philippine Revolution in 1896, when ordinary farmers, workers, and students took up arms against Spain. They weren't the strongest army, but their determination shook an empire. Think of World War II, when Filipino guerrillas kept fighting in the jungles even after official armies had fallen, proving resilience was stronger than occupation, and it doesn't end in war. Every year the Philippines faces some of the world's strongest typhoons, deadly earthquakes, and even volcanic eruptions. Whole villages can be swept away overnight. Yet when the storm clears, people rebuild their homes, their schools, and their lives. This resilience is not just about survival, it's about hope. It's a story the world looks at and says, if they can rise again and again, so can we. The Philippines teaches the world that resilience is a form of strength, a quiet, unshakable power that shapes history just as much as any army or empire. Few countries in the world balance so many identities at once. The Philippines is deeply Asian, tied to the traditions of its neighbors like Malaysia, Indonesia, and China. But it also carries centuries of Spanish influence, seen in its food, its religion, and its fiestas. Add 50 years of American presence, and you get a country that feels at home in both East and West. This unique mix has made the Philippines a natural cultural bridge. Filipinos can adapt easily whether they're in the Middle East, Europe, or North America. They bring with them Asian warmth, Western familiarity, and their own creativity. Look at global companies. Call centers in Manila and Cebu thrive because Filipinos can understand and connect with both Western and Asian clients. Look at culture. Filipino artists dominate Broadway, Hollywood, and Asian music scenes. The blend of influences gives them versatility that few others can match. This bridge role is why the Philippines is seen as a connector, not just of trade, but of people and ideas. It's a role that makes it indispensable in a world that needs understanding between cultures more than ever. The Philippines' story is far bigger than its size on the map. It has been a trade hub, a battleground, a cultural exporter, a labor force powering economies, and now a strategic key in modern geopolitics. For centuries it was underestimated, a colony, a pawn, a small country. But history proves otherwise. Without the Philippines, the world's first globalization through the galleon trade would not have been possible. Without the Philippines, World War II in the Pacific might have dragged on far longer. Without Filipino workers, many industries abroad would collapse today. And in the 21st century, the Philippines is stepping into a new spotlight. Positioned at the crossroads of Asia, with a young and resilient population, it is becoming a nation the world can no longer afford to overlook. The Philippines doesn't just survive history, it shapes it. And the sooner the world recognizes that, the clearer it becomes. This nation is not just important, it is essential.